Hello, my name is Yaruba Tate with Convergint Technologies, General Manager at Tennessee, looking to discuss the SLED opportunities and ways for federal funding with David Klug today.
Hi, I'm David Klug with Convergint. I'm responsible for strategic business development, state and local government and education, what we call SLED, for our Eastern U.S. operations.
So Dave, tell me, what are some of the types of funding programs that you're likely to hear about in your work with the state and local government education customers?
Well, some of the grants, and particularly I'm talking recently, are in response to COVID-19, a major event like that. And the federal government has made available funding through the CARES Act, grants that are made available to governors, state education agencies, and higher education institutions to help prevent, prepare for, and respond to the effects of COVID-19. Local governments in Tennessee have been granted hundreds of millions of dollars through the CARES Act. K-12 schools in Tennessee, for example, have received almost $235 million in the first round of CARES Act funding. There are other federal grant programs for security, typically annually and recurring, that are competitive, such as those from the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is among the largest grant providers. However, there are also sources of funding through the state government with tax and or bond programs. In Tennessee, the Department of Education has Safe Schools grant program, which is currently receiving applications until September 30th.
So Dave, thanks for describing where some of the funding is currently and how much is allocated. How much money is actually available?
Overall, and from the federal government, funding for physical safety and security equipment, detection and enhancement, crime prevention, analytics, information technology equipment, it runs actually in the billions of dollars each year nationally. With respect to the Tennessee Department of Education Safe Schools Grant Program, funds are allocated to school districts throughout the state based on their relative share of basic education program funding. And all that means is it's formula-based for school districts throughout the state of Tennessee.
And Dave, I want to ask you kind of a compound question. What can some of those funds be used for, and how flexible are the actual spending guidelines? And are there grant programs out there that are considered competitive?
Yeah, good questions. We get that all the time about what these various grants, the funds can be used for. So the types of funding we're discussing for physical safety and security equipment, video analytics, crime prevention, information technology, et cetera. And for something like the CARES Act funding for COVID-19, states' governors have asked for maximum flexibility in how to spend that money, and they support a broad range of uses. Now, for competitive grants, the types of funding opportunities that are available on an annual recurring basis, those are more specific and follow stricter application guidelines.
So Dave, how does that application process actually work?
For the CARES Act funding that's ongoing, all individual U.S. states manage the flow of information and funds from the federal government to state, county, and municipal agencies and education institutions. The annual recurring competitive grants have timetables that vary. Many of the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice grant programs that our customers are interested in have applications due in the spring timeframe every year, with award announcements made typically in the fall of each year.
So Dave, tell me, what are some of the reasons you find that agencies actually don't apply for grant funding?
I've asked our customers throughout education, county, municipal government, that very question. And here's some examples of the answers I've received. One reason is often that they feel that there's not enough time to apply for a particular funding opportunity. The funding size of a grant or the fact that it's a federal grant doesn't necessarily doesn't necessarily determine the complexity of the application or the process. The one thing that we encourage all of our customers to do is to engage early. Another reason is fear of rejection. But it's really important to understand with any kind of rejection, a rejected application doesn't mean the plan wasn't good enough. A rejected proposal is still worthy of internal discovery and free advice from the grantor. And at the very least, going through the application process allows for deeper dives into strategic security planning. Also, application success rates increase with subsequent submissions. And of course, you can't secure grant funding unless you apply and compete. Some agencies feel that they can't afford it because there are often match or cost share components to the grant, but not all grants have that kind of cost share component. And even for those that do, agencies can get creative in ways to address that.
Understood. So just to expand on options, are there other grants in our local tax or bond funds that can be used for cost share or match?
There are. We often think of the federal grant money that flows down to the states and then onward to county and municipal agencies and education institutions. But there are also state programs, like the one that I mentioned through the Tennessee Department of Education as well. And we're always researching and have our finger on the pulse of funding opportunities throughout the state of Tennessee in this case, whether it's coming from the federal government or the state government.
So I got to ask the golden question, Dave. Where can I find information about these federal grants?
One of the best places to learn more about the CARES Act, the current very large federal program, but also other federal annually recurring grant programs and state funding initiatives is at our website with the links below, and follow the prompts. And we're here to assist you at any time.
Dave, thanks for taking the time to get me up to speed on SLED and the federal funding here for the state of Tennessee. I'm excited about our customers gaining access and being able to navigate this.
Yaruba, you're very welcome. Always happy to help, and we look forward to assisting state and local customers throughout the state of Tennessee. Thanks.